Are you a high-performing parent, entrepreneur, or high achiever in pursuit of excellence? Welcome to The Nexus Podcast, a podcast custom tailored for families like ours, driven, affluent, and eager to lead extraordinary lives. From rockstar stay-at-home moms to high-producing CEOs, we choose to model success for everyone we are surrounded by. We prioritize health over sickness, embrace a vitalistic lifestyle, and seek to tap into the limitless potential that God has bestowed upon us. I'm Dr. Daniel Kimbley, your host, and on this podcast, we'll uncover the secrets to living a fulfilling and abundant life, where you and your loved ones can thrive physically, mentally, and spiritually. Together, we'll forge a path to greatness and unleash your God-given capabilities. Get ready to say yes to a life of true prosperity and well-being. This is The Nexus Podcast. Hey, what's up, fam? Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. And I'm so excited to bring you this week's episode because I feel like God has put a series of things in front of me that have been slightly challenging, but also very, very rewarding on the back end. And so I'm going to kind of share two separate stories with you that illustrate the point that I want to talk about, which is this idea of commitment, of consistency over long periods of time. And I think is where I'll start is in reverse order. So literally yesterday, it may not be yesterday when you're listening to this podcast, but yesterday on one of the ads we were running for a service inside of our office, we had someone who we know, not necessarily a friend, definitely an acquaintance, and have had conversations with this person before. And they made the comment of like, if chiropractic care works so well, then why do you have to keep coming back? And luckily we just have warriors inside of our office, like people who are amazing, who we take care of, who see the value of what we do, who understand this difference between living at 75 or 85% and living at 100%. And the reason I share this with you is because there's a part of me that wanted to get frustrated. There's a part of me that wanted to start talking negatively, to like shoot back at them, comment, etc. And Heather caught me, and she caught me in this like drift of me getting frustrated, and she's like, hey, why don't you let me tell you some good news, is one of our clients just wrote us a 5-star review, literally in that instant. But if I wouldn't have shifted my mindset out of it, I don't think I would have gotten there. And so the point isn't about my mindset or me getting frustrated or not getting frustrated. The point of it is this comment triggered something in me that I'd had a conversation about in my office with someone who is a very high-level athlete, going to the Olympics to swim. And so I was having this conversation with this person who's, like I said, an Olympic level swimmer, super elite, and someone who's getting up, like 4:35 in the morning to go swim in the pool before anybody even opens their eyes. It's still dark outside, and then working out in the middle of the day and like training consistently. And I asked this person a question. I was like, hey, do you ever not want to go and get in the pool or go into the weight room or go and train or do mobility or come and get adjusted and do all the things that you have to do to function at 100% at the highest level because you're pushing your body so hard? And this person's response to me was like, no, I just do it. Like I have to do it. And so then I asked them another question, which I think is important, and this will tie into that Facebook comment that I was frustrated by, I guess you could say, here in a second. And so the question I asked this person was this. I said, hey, what would you give someone advice on if someone was a younger kid and they said, hey, I want to be just like you when I grow up and I want to become an Olympic level swimmer, what advice would you give me? And it really wasn't even a thought. And what this person said is consistency over long periods of time. That's it. Consistency over long periods of time. And I was so struck by it because it's so simple. And you look at the best of the best of the best in any industry, in any athletic realm, and wherever you want to look at it, it's people who are consistent over long periods of time. Even when it's hard, even when you don't want to, even when the weather sucks, even when it's cold, even when you didn't get enough sleep, even when you have other stuff in life going on, consistency over long periods of time. And so here's what's interesting about this idea of consistency over long periods of time is that this person who wrote this Facebook post to try to take shots at us does something in the bodywork field. And my initial question would be like, if you're doing massage on somebody, do you only expect them to come once and then they're good forever? It's a really simple question. And I would ask you the same question is would you ever go to the gym one time and say, oh, I'm so glad that I went to the gym, I never have to go back again? Or would you eat clean for one day and say, oh, I'm so glad that I don't have to eat clean anymore because I ate clean for one day and I never have to do it again? Or what about a relationship? It's like, oh, I'm glad I took that person that I was going to potentially marry on one date and then I never gave any effort ever again, and that's how they became my spouse. Like, anything that is worth doing, anything that matters, any level of success in any area of life, it doesn't matter what it is dependent on consistency over long periods of time. When people ask me, like I have close friends who are such strong Christians, who have a great connection with God, and over the course of the last year, they've asked me, they're like, dude, what are you doing to have such ridiculously massive growth in your relationship and your walk with the Lord? And my answer is simple. It's consistency over long periods of time. I've literally been reading the Bible every day for 56 weeks straight. Every single day, haven't missed a day, and like there's a streak that's involved with it, right? But I would have never gotten there. And it's not about reading the Bible. It's not about any of the stuff that I do. It's not about me at all. But what I think it is about is consistency over long periods of time. Like in the Bible, it tells you to pray incessantly, right? Inside your head. So it's consistency over long periods of time. You know, Moses and the Israelites, they're out in the desert for 40 years walking around like randomly, not knowing what to do. Consistency over long periods of time. And so in any place, right, whether it's nutrition, whether it's in the gym, whether it's chiropractic care, right, the reason that people continue to see us for maintenance is because they realize that consistency over long periods of time is what allows me to live a healthy, fulfilled life. And when I see people time and time again who are told in any place that like, oh, you only have to do this for 30 days, or you only have to do this for 75 days, or you only have to do this for 90 days, it takes longer than 90 days to build a habit. It takes longer than 30 days to build a habit. It takes longer than 75 days to build a habit. What it takes is consistency over long periods of time. And like such a powerful message. And I would ask the question of you is like anything that you learn to do or something that you're great at, or whether it's parenting, right? Whether it's your connection with God, whether it's your relationship, your marriage or a spouse or a partner or a boyfriend or girlfriend, or like other best friends, did those relationships require commitment over long periods of time? Through the ups and the downs, through the highs and the lows, even when you didn't want to do it, consistency over long periods of time. And this is what adds up to something that is exponential in growth and exponential in change. And I think so often we live in this society where people are like, oh, you got to keep going back. Oh, I got to keep doing that thing. It's like the reality is this, is like, as long as I have a car, I'm going to change the oil in my car. As long as I have tires on my car, I'm going to rotate and balance the tires on my car. As long as I have a physical body that I feel like looks good in the mirror, I'm going to continue to eat clean. Not just because I look good, but also because I feel good and I have more energy. And when people show up and they're like, dude, how do you have so much energy? How do these people, like, how come everybody in your office is so healthy and so happy? It's not a secret. The secret is because all of them are consistent over long periods of time. Because people take care of themselves, because people invest in themselves, because they realize that they're their own best investment. Like nobody else outside of you, nothing outside of what's already inside of you can allow you to be to the level you want to be at unless you're consistent over long periods of time. And this is why I get so fired up and why I think it was such a special message from this person who's an Olympic level athlete to say, it's just like it's not hard. It's consistency over long periods of time. And when you feel like you want to give up, and when you feel like you want to make a change, and when you feel like something's not working, like all the time I see people who get ridiculous results, and then they're like, it's not working anymore. I'm like, no, you just have a new level of operating system that is so much higher that you forgot your old self. And I see, like there's one of my moms, one of the favorite people we get to take care of, is she realizes this on a deep level. She's like, Dr. Daniel, you literally have the hardest job because you allow people to get to this place where they're functioning so much better that they forget where they came from. And this is not a conversation about chiropractic care. I truly believe in my core, and I could argue this all day long, is that God gave us all the ability to be successful. It's already within us. We're all able to thrive. Our symptoms are normal, a normal response to an abnormal amount of stress. Nobody else is going to tell you this. Everybody else is going to tell you you're broken. Everybody else is going to tell you that just take this one pill magically and you're going to be fixed forever. But even the massage therapist wants you to come back. The float places want you to come back. The acupuncturist wants you to come back. You got to keep eating clean if you want to keep your six pack. You got to keep going to the gym if you want to stay fit and have muscles. Like anything worth doing inside of your life requires consistency over long periods of time. it's hard. It's like one of the most difficult things ever, but it's also so insanely simple. And so when I hear the haters shouting out, and when I hear the Olympic athlete telling me the exact opposite thing, my question is like, who would I listen to? Who would I believe? The people who have results inside of their life, or the people who just want to hate on everybody else because they're frustrated with the fact that they never committed anything for a long enough time to actually see change inside of their life? So my friends, that's all I have for you on this episode. Is like, my question would be this: where could you potentially be more consistent? And it doesn't have to be food in the gym. It can be in your relationships. It could be in your mindset. It could be in your spirituality. It could be in a relationship with your kids. It could be in sport. It could be in so many different things. It could be at work. But the idea is this, is that the more that we are consistent over those long periods of time, the better results that we will have. And the more our lives will be radically changed. And this is the most special part of all of it, is that nexus literally means the central most important point of place. You are the central most important point of place for the people you are connected with the most. And how you show up and what you express to them is a direct reflection of your consistency or not over long periods of time. And why would you give anybody else your seconds or thirds when you could give them your first? And you do that by investing in you, by taking care of yourself for the long haul. My friends, I love you. I appreciate you. Let's go out and change the world today, and I will come at you again next week. Peace.